this is Lizzie. Today I have this really cute encouragement card to send someone. So I'm going to be using this really cute stamp set. It's called Stinkin' Cute. It's got this adorable skunk in it. And then as part of my scene, I'm going to be using the trees from Joy to the Woods. So I'm going to stamp them with my Misty, and I'm using Memento Tuxedo black ink because I'll be doing some Copic coloring. And then I will just stamp that. And you can see actually I didn't stamp the tree very well, so thankfully I did it with the Misty and I can re-stamp it very easily. So I'll just do that, and then I have a nice black crisp impression. So now I'm going to get started coloring my images. I'll be using Copic markers, and I've chosen some neutral grays. I've listed the colors at the top of the screen for the skunk, and then I'll be using some warm grays for the tree in a little bit. So I'm just doing what I usually do for Copic marker coloring, which is starting with the darkest color, blending that out with the medium shade, and then blending all of that out with the lightest shade. So I'll just continue doing that until the skunk is completely colored, and then I will move on to coloring the trees. So now I'm going to make a grassy hill for my little skunk to sit on, and I've used one of the cross-stitch rectangle dies and gone ahead and cut that out of some white cardstock, and then I'm just sponging some Mowed Lawn Distress ink. And then once I have that about a third of the way up, I can go ahead and use the curved grassy hill die and die cut that out. And now I have a perfect grassy hill for my little skunk to sit on. So you can see off to the side that I die cut a few extra things off camera. I used two of the cross-stitched rectangles to cut out a blue background from some mermaid cardstock to make a background for the scene. I also used one of the rectangles to die cut a piece of pattern paper from the Let's Polka in the Meadow 6x6 petite paper pack. And lastly, I die cut two clouds from the Simple Puffy cloud frame dies. So you can see right now that I am working on my sentiment. I use Smitty's ABCs to stamp out a custom sentiment, and then I'm going to heat emboss that with some white heat embossing powder on some black cardstock, and then I'll use my heat tool and heat that up, and then I can go ahead and cut that out, trim that out with my paper trimmer. So here are all the main elements of our card. You can see how it's all going to go together eventually. But before I adhere anything, I'm going to work on the sentiment on the inside of the card. So I got out my Misty again, and I zoomed out the camera so you can see the full Misty. You can see a very small portion of my very messy desk. I hope you guys don't mind that too much. I'm stamping the sentiment Big Hugs with some Merman ink, which is a great sort of turquoisey green ink. And then because I'm using the Misty tool, I can stamp it a couple times. I think I actually stamped it 3 times just to make it a nice bold sentiment that really stands out against the soot ink that I'll be using for the other portion of the sentiment. And then once that is all stamped, I'm going to be using this Monster Mash stamp set, and I'm going to be using a portion of one of the sentiments. It says sending you monster hugs, but we just need the sending you part. So I'm going to place that nice and straight on the paper. I used my ruler to make sure that was nice and straight, and then I'm going to selectively ink. So I just need the top line of the stamp, and I'll be using, like I said, some soot ink. And then I can peel off that little piece of Post-it that was covering the bottom portion of the stamp, and then I can stamp that into place just perfectly. So now, just to give the inside of the card a little bit of extra finishing touches, I'm going to be using the tiny heart stamp, and I chose some guava ink. I have all my ink swatches done finally, so it's really easy to pick a nice coordinating color when I can see them all lined up. And I used that guava ink, stamped a couple hearts, just again to give the inside of the card a little bit of extra fun. So now I'm going to start assembling the rest of the card. I used a combination of liquid glue and foam tape, and then I used some score tape, which is a nice, really strong adhesive, to adhere all of the layers together. So here's the finished card completely put together. I think it's just adorable. I love this little cute skunk. The sentiment is really fun, and I think it would definitely brighten someone's day. So I hope you enjoyed this video on making this really sweet encouragement card. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.